Hey guys, welcome back to the last day of my week of WoW for the Sims 4 high school years. So day 5 is normally when I kind of go over brief overviews of each day, kind of sum up my thoughts from each day and any other thoughts I may have had about the pack, and then my overall opinion on if I do or do not recommend the pack. So we're just going to go ahead and get into it. So day 1 was, we took a look at Create a Sim. I made a family of 4. We have Kent and Annabeth Griffith and their twin children, Jet and Jade. And we looked at a lot of the cast item. We took a look at cast. And since this was a high school theme pack, a lot of the, there was only clothing for the teenagers and adults. There was no clothing for children or toddlers, but there were a lot of hairs for all ages, which I was very impressed with, very happy with. For the most part, I liked about half of the clothes that we got with this pack, but that's just because I do not understand a lot of the current fashion trends and don't really like a lot of the current fashion trends. And whenever we have packs come out, they normally either reflect current, the fashion trends of the time when the pack came out, or no, I don't care. Gosh dang it, Kent. It's either, he got me off track. It's either the pack has fashion from when it's released, so because a lot of the stuff from the base game of The Sims is kind of, I guess, considered out of fashion now, out of style. That's what I'm looking for, because it was from 7-8 years ago. So there's a lot of stuff in this that I was like, what is that? I just didn't understand it. And some of the items, the Sims team proved that they could do 3D belts, that there was texture to it. And then there was other times where the same belt on a different, on a skirt instead of on a pair of pants, was flat, and I didn't understand why it was flat. So there were things like that made me a little disappointed when again, the Sims team has proven they can do things with texture and depth and layer, and then they give us flat items. But I liked a lot of the hairs. There were quite a few things of clothes that I did find were quite cute. Disappointed in the shoes that we got. I thought both pairs of shoes were very ugly, but that's just me. But I did end up deciding that, going off the cast stuff, yes, I would still recommend the pack. For the most, the stuff that I did like, I quite liked. I was pretty happy with the things that I was yeah, I'd wear that, or yeah, I could see myself maybe using that. I did like what I saw. So then we moved on to day 2. In day 2, we took a look at the build buy items, and we also looked over the world of Copperdale, which is the world that came with the pack. So a lot of the build buy items are very school themed, it's stuff that you would find in a school, understandably. But the stuff that was the beds, I really liked a lot of the beds we got. We got a lot of really cool streaming computers. A lot of I really liked the desks we got with this pack. Kind of an odd thing to really point out, but I really liked the desks. And I was very impressed with the amount of things we got. So I recommended that you should buy the pack from the build buy items and the world. The world is really pretty. And again, it gives me kind of Washington State, Oregon coast vibes, northeast of US vibes, not so far north up in Alaska or anything, but northeast. And I've never been to Canada, so I can't say if this looks like Canada's coast or not, but the world is really pretty. The pier, and I will talk later about the pier. The pier is really cool looking, very aesthetically pleasing, and a lot of the houses in the world are really cute, really nicely done. The school, however, I will say I found the school that is default placed in this world, I found it really boring. Way too big, not filled, very bland, and so I ended up replacing the school. I don't want to be hyperspeed. Thank you. I ended up replacing the school because the one that was placed in the world, I was really disappointed by. I'm like, this is a really bad school. What is this? So, the school and the auditorium are really boring and really bland, very empty, too big. But when you replace the school, like, it was really cool. But the world itself, I do like the world. I do think it's really nice. I do like the houses here. It's a pretty decent sized world. So, again, going off day 2, yes, I'd recommend the pack for, again, the build buy and the world. It was really nice. So then day 3, we start getting into the more gameplay aspects. So day 3, we went to the twins' first day of school. I was really hoping they would have different schedules, but the school day only allows time for 2 classes. I wish I only had to attend 2 classes, but you show up, you're there for like 2 hours, and then class starts, and then you have lunch for 2 hours, and then you have class, and then you go home. And I feel like while the day does pass really fast, I feel like the 2 hour long time when you get there is really unnecessary. I just wish there was kind of more to do, if that makes sense. And when you look at your sim schedule, it says we have art class this day, math class this day, but they go to the same classroom for every class. So at least snoring behind me, or at least I believe so. I accidentally on Tuesday sent my sims to school by themselves. I did not mean to, but even if you click off of it and tell them to go to school again, they still will go by themselves after that. And then Thursday was Harvest Fest. Well, I canceled Harvest Fest to try and get them to go to school. Because Harvest Fest took precedence, though, they still went to school by themselves. So I don't know if Tuesday and Thursday maybe they were in the art classroom or they were in a different room, but I was kind of annoyed that the school I placed had a lot of classrooms in it. And while I was happy that there were 2 different classes going on at the same time, my Sims kept going to the same classroom for each class every day that I went with them to school. And I was just kind of well, I feel like that's not utilizing the full potential there, if that makes sense. But I do think that it's nice that you can select not to go with your Sims, they get to the active careers. You can, with the doctor career, you can choose whether to join or send your Sim alone. And I appreciate that. I liked that. But I do feel like the Sims team could have gone just a little bit further with the school, with the school day. Could have given us just a little more to do. But for the most part, I do think it's a nice touch. And now I'm expecting that they should release something similar for children, because as I stated in day 4, I do feel like, yes, the teenagers were basically young adults and we're in desperate need of something extra. The children are also really lacking, and could also use more. So now that we have a whole expansion pack dedicated to teenagers, I don't know necessarily that we need a whole expansion pack for children, but maybe another game pack, because we have things like kids' rooms, and I feel like they give us more for kids to do because teenagers are just viewed as pretty much young adults. But I don't know. Now that we have high school, I'm expecting elementary school. So then we had the after school activities, and I felt that the after school activities were disappointing. I was expecting to be able to go with my Sims to their after school activities, to be able to go with Jet to football and have him practice throwing footballs with other Sims, and go with Jade to computer or team or whatever and practice programming with them and the rest of the team. And you don't do that, they're rabbit holes. The Sims will disappear off to whatever after school activity they're signed up for, and then they come home. That's all there really is to it. So, and it's kind of like a career where to get performance boosts, you have to level up your skills and perform certain tasks and stuff like that. But I was kind of disappointed with the after school activities. But still, going off, like, with all that being said, I was still, for someone who is thought that the high school was unnecessary, I do like it, and I do recommend the pack, going off of what we experienced with day 3. However, I don't find it necessary. I don't find it unnecessary, but I don't find it necessary either. Like, it's not something, oh my gosh, I can't live without. To be honest, like, this pack is a lot of fun, but I don't need it. I don't need it, that to be honest. Like, it's not something that drastically changes my gameplay. If I send my Sims to school alone, the game is practically unchanged. So, like, I don't need the pack, but I would recommend it. I've gotten really bad about, like, tripping up on starting sentences. So, then we move on to day 4. And if you guys watched my video of day 4, you will understand and know that I am quite frustrated and pretty upset with what I experienced. So, day 4 was focusing on stuff that your Sims could do, your teenagers could do outside of school. So, I took a look at the pier, and we had prom. I intentionally started the save in fall so that we could attend prom. Instead of having to play through 2 weeks, I would only have to play through 1. I'm like, ooh, big brain move. Look at me, I'm so smart. And I'm not happy. So I played through the week, and on Saturday morning, I had my Sims invite their friends over. So Jade was seriously crushing on their friend Savannah, but we had found out through the like, from the update that we got with the sexual orientation, that Savannah was not interested. However, Jade continued to crush, and was also was a very close friend to Savannah. So Jade asked Savannah to go with them to prom as a friend. Savannah said yes. So then Jet asked Cassandra Goth to go with him to prom, but I had them become boyfriend girlfriend. And so Cassandra actually asked us to go before it's winter. Cassandra actually asked us before we had the chance to ask her. However, we said yes, and we were set to go to prom with Cassie. So I was like, oh, it'd be so cute if we invited our dates over and went to the pier, because we live right next door to the pier. The pier is right over there. We're right over here, okay? So we're, like, right next door to the pier, right? And, like, clicking on the pier from the house, like, telling my Sims to go take pictures or go on one of the rides, they wouldn't do it. So I sent them over to the pier manually and had them take their respective dates, even though Savannah's not an actual date. But anyways, to take their respective Sims with them. And I sent Jade to go take photos with Savannah, and I just sent Jet to go on the, like, cuddle carts ride or whatever. Oh, hello. The cuddle carts ride with Cassie. And both of their friends refused. They wouldn't get on the ride. Not necessarily refused, but they just wouldn't do it. And instead they turned around and walked back to the house. So it left Jade to take pictures by themselves and Jet to go on the ride all alone. So that was really frustrating. Then it was prom time. So one of the teenagers at the school randomly, like, my Sims didn't even know this kid, invited the twins over to his house for a pre-prom party. Nothing was happening at this pre-prom party. We showed up. There were a lot of Sims there, but there wasn't actually anything to do. We just kind of showed up at this person's house. So I got bored, decided to go home. We were invited maybe like 3 o'clock or something. Went home around 5 o'clock. Prom started at 7. So we get back to our house. We brought Savannah and Cassie over with us. And 7 o'clock comes and goes, and my Sims haven't gone to prom yet. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, why are you guys still home? I'm like, okay, is it one of those things I have to manually send them to the auditorium? So we travel. We go to the auditorium. We get there, and prom has disappeared from the calendar. Prom has disappeared from the socialization options. They no longer have any sentiments with their dates on prom. Like, it's like prom never existed. Prom wasn't a thing. Extremely frustrating. Because I'm on like serious time crunch. I'm going to I'm going to a concert this upcoming weekend, which is when I was supposed to do a bunch of pre-recording, and then I'm going to be gone for a couple days, then I come back for a day, and then I'm actually going to see another concert, and then I'll be back for a couple days, and then a couple days, like, then I leave to actually help my friend move into her college dorm room 7 hours away, and I'll be gone for almost a week to try and like kind of soak up the last couple days of summer for myself. And so I'm like, I don't have the time that I normally would to like sit down and pre-record, so I'm trying to get a bunch of it done now, and I'm stressing out. And here I have this issue where my Sims won't go to prom. Prom doesn't even exist. So I Google it, and I guess other people were having this problem, and they're like, when I backed up the save file, then I made another save file, and then like my third save file, and it finally worked, and then I went back to the other save file and like cheated it, and it worked again, and I'm like, I don't know, it didn't work for me, and I was extremely upset. So despite knowing I didn't really have the time to do so, I played. I pretty much cheated through the week to get it back up to prom. This time, Jade ended up asking out her classmate Rashida, who we actually were able to become girlfriends with. We asked Rashida to go to prom with us. Rashida said yes. I did the whole promposal thing. Jet had once again asked out Cassie. Cassie said yes. And then all of a sudden this sentiment pops up for both Rashida and Jade that they're upset that they didn't get asked to prom. Like, they're hurt that the other sim didn't ask them to prom. I'm like, what do you mean didn't ask you to prom? Well, then I noticed it's 7:01. And apparently my Sims Jade had convinced themselves that Rashida isn't going with them, or like Rashida convinced herself that Jade hadn't asked her to go. Like, I was very confused after I just watched a promposal be accepted like an hour before, like Sims time, an hour earlier. So really confused there. And then once again, prom didn't happen. Supposedly there's supposed to be like this pop-up that's like, let's go to prom or something. I didn't get that either time, and I just like cheated through and like played through a whole week again because I was bad at saving. But it was extremely frustrating. I still don't know what prom is like in this game, and unfortunately, like, again, I don't have the time to play through another save, just to risk prom not working again. So unfortunately, if you want to know what prom is like, you're gonna have to go watch it from somebody else, because I couldn't get prom to work. And then there's graduation, and I don't know how graduation really works, because my Sims are supposed to age up in 5 days. I don't know if it's one of those things that it shows up when, like, they're a few days from aging up, and it's like, oh, hey, by the way, graduation is now going to be on, like, Wednesday, and your Sim ages up on, like, Thursday, or something. I don't know. But, yeah, I don't know. What I ended up playing through for day 4 totally ruined my outlook on this pack, and really affected how I rate it now. So going off of what I experienced with day 4, no, I do not recommend the Sims 4 High School Years pack. So then, the whole point of today is to take all that I experienced and determine whether or not I recommend this pack. And I'm going to go ahead and still say yes, because from what I've seen, other people were able to get prom to work, and I haven't actually watched anyone else's playthrough of prom, but I haven't heard any, aside from it not working, I haven't heard any bad things about the actual event itself. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes. I like a good chunk of the cast stuff. I'm really impressed with the build by and the world. As soon as you replace the school, it's really nice. I still think there could have been more to the school, but I don't hate it. Again, I don't think that this pack is necessary, I don't think it really expands on too much for the game. It just kind of gives you the ability to send your Sims to school. And I do think we still need more for teenagers other than just being able to attend school with them. And that was kind of my outlook when the Sims 4 High School Users first, like, the trailer first came out. I'm like, oh, well, I agree we need more for the teenagers. But I don't think sending, being able to go to school with them was the answer. It was cool, but I don't think it was really the solution I was looking for for like more things for teenagers, to be honest. But it is a fun pack when it works. So before day 4, I probably would have ranked this pack as like maybe a 7.5 out of 10 stars. After the disaster and frustration that came from prom, I might give it like a 5.25, like 5.25 stars. If it was 5 or less, I probably wouldn't recommend this pack. So it's like borderline me saying no, just because of the frustration and sheer like aggravation and anger towards the disaster that was like the prom not working. So I'm hoping that gets fixed. Thankfully, I guess there was some kind of like glitch where like your Sims would want to form incestuous relationships with their family. I am very glad to say that I have not experienced that. However, I do want to briefly touch on the update that did come before this pack. So the update came with like the main things were sexual orientation, body hair, and the reintroduction of fears and wants, I believe, which is they took the whims that I'd never liked the whims. I found the whims really annoying. So when the whims were turned off a while back and then you had the option to toggle them back on, I didn't bother turning them back on because I didn't like them. I never paid any attention to them. I thought a lot of them were ridiculous, like buy a 1x1 square like tile pool and do stuff like. It took a lot of like the stupid wishes from The Sims 3 and like gave you more of them. Like I felt like that was all the only kind of wishes I had was like that and inviting Sims over. I'm like, no. So when the whims got turned off, I was not upset. I did not turn them back on. I found them annoying. So I was hoping when the wants and fears came out that would fix how I felt about whims, and it didn't. I honestly found the wants and fears and wishes thing, I still find that really annoying. I will most likely be turning that off. I did not play Sims 2, so I feel like maybe those who did play Sims 2, which I believe is where the wants and fears come from, may like it more than I did. But I started playing Sims with The Sims 3, so never played The Sims 2. I don't have any... Oh, it's snowing. Fine, you dislike video gaming. I don't care. Jet. I lost my train of thought again. I said jet, by the way. Just clarifying. But, oh yeah, the wants and fears, I could not care less. Will more than likely be turning it off. I found it really difficult to do some of the wants, and then my Sims got really stressed out. Like they had fears form. Jade flunked her exams the first week through. Jade flunked their exams the first week through, and then developed a fear of like failing. Understandably, but it was constantly making them really stressed out or like upset, like sad or tense or embarrassed or angry, and it was really annoying because before that, like Jet and Jade both experienced wishes that were kind of difficult to fulfill at times. A lot of it had to do with things to do at school, but there almost felt like there wasn't enough time to do things. Like your Sims take so much time. Like I'd find my Sims just standing there doing nothing. And I had to reset them to get them to actually go and do things. And then I wasted all this time because my Sims weren't moving. So it was really frustrating, and you didn't have like the ability to like, there's no longer like a little X. There's like the pin to like save the wish, and there used to be like a little X above it to get rid of it. There's no X anymore. You just have to wait for that wish to replace itself. And so then like Jet was getting really upset that he wasn't getting these wishes fulfilled. And then so like he was having like a fear of unfulfilled dreams or whatever, and I just found it really annoying. I will more than likely I will be turning it off for future playthroughs. I found it really annoying. Do not see the point in using it. So then there's the sexual orientation. I do find it like, I feel like you can only, I could not find anywhere for my Sims to figure out what a Sim's sexual orientation was without trial and error, just flat out asking. Because I wanted to have Jet date Savannah at first. Jet tried flirting with Savannah. Savannah said, thanks, but I'm not interested. So I'm like, okay. So does that mean Savannah is only interested in like, or is uninterested in guys asking? So then I had Jade try, and Savannah was still uninterested. So then I figured out that, okay, Savannah's not like looking to explore or whatever. But I didn't have any way of knowing that until like through trial and error. So I could see that being really like frustrating if like you spend all this time building this relationship with a Sim, like a friendship, and then start to flirt only for the Sim to be like, yeah, I'm not interested. Like, I could see that being really upsetting. Like, really, not upsetting, but frustrating. So, I may be just totally blind and, like, skipped right over somewhere where you can ask. But if there isn't somewhere to ask, I really hope that that is implemented at some point. That you can ask a Sim what their, like, orientation is. Like, are you looking to explore? Are you interested? Like, I didn't see that. But again, totally possible I looked right over it. And then there's the body hair. For the most part, I thought the body hair was really fun and like shaving, but I would send Jade into the shower to like shave their legs, and then they'd get out of the shower and still have hair on their legs. I'm like, but I just, realistically, I know that you don't get it all every time, but it was like I never sent them into the shower to shave. So for the most part, like, I think it's really cool to have like the hair growth. Like, Kent didn't have any body hair on, so Kent didn't grow, like, and that's the dad. Kent didn't grow any body hair at all. But then, sorry, their mom, Annabeth, didn't have body hair, and yet she did have body hair growing. So that was kind of confusing. But then, like, Jade had, their body hair grew in really fast, but then Jet's body hair didn't, and so like it was growing at different rates, and it was a little confusing, and I could see it potentially getting annoying. But for now, I will probably leave body hair like growth on, but again, I can see it being kind of annoying in the future. And like when your Sims start growing body hair, they like freak out. They get like 3 different moodlets, freaking out about the fact that they're going through puberty. And then there's the acne. Now, I was quite impressed that, like, there is a possibility that acne will show up on your Sims. Jet got acne within the first day, and I was actually pretty happy that it's actually being used, because you had the ability to give your Sims acne and create a Sim when Parenthood was released, but it never actually would, like, spawn on your Sims. It wouldn't just, like, appear, and I always wish that it would. That we were given the ability to give our Sims acne, but we couldn't, like, there wasn't the option for the acne to grow in or to clear up. It was just there, or it wasn't. And it was because you put it there, or you didn't. So I am quite happy that it is actually a thing that is, like, that can show up and clear up. So, I don't know. I guess that's just kind of my overall review. It was a lot of talking, a lot of babbling. I feel like I didn't get too off topic with this one. I didn't go like babbling off into the woods or anything, but I do recommend this pack, but I do strongly advise that maybe try and wait and see if a patch is released, or if anything is even said about the whole issue with prom not working. I don't know how common that is either. Like, I don't know if that happens a lot, or if I'm just one of the rare few that has happened to. I don't know, but it did really skew my view of this pack, unfortunately. So I would wait for it to go on sale, wait for a couple updates to come, patches to be released, and hopefully that will fix things. But I guess that's really all I have to say. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I do have my gaming channel and my Twitter linked down in the description below if you'd like to go check those out. We've just started playing Batman Arkham Knight over on the gaming channel. I've never played Arkham Knight before. I've played the other 3, but I've never played Arkham Knight before, so it's definitely an experience. But yeah, if you'd like to check out either of the things down in the description, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.